Morning everyone. Today I want to talk to you about juggling it all. So it is a Tuesday morning. So I thought there was a car coming. It's a Tuesday morning and it's business systems and outsourcing on Tuesdays now. And I've kind of covered this topic in varying formats over the past few months, but it's such an important one. I keep coming back and keep revisiting it because it's so important. And this was a question asked by one of the Facebook community, Entrepreneur Facebook community, and this was from Wayne Bettis. I think I did one for Wayne on running yesterday as well. So this is 2 questions in 2 days for you, Wayne. But anyway, the question was about how you juggle it all, and this is a really important topic, pure and simply because if you don't get this right, it's a major driver for overwhelm. And what we mean by juggling it all is that we mean that, I've got 5-6 different businesses that I kind of run, and within those 6 businesses, there are, I think, 11 people at last count that work within at least one of the businesses in some capacity. So there's a lot of people, a lot of businesses, a lot of goals, objectives, milestones that we're trying to hit, a lot of data, a lot of systems and processes, a lot of stuff coming inbound on a daily basis, whether it's problems, whether it's communications, whether it's emails, notifications, all the things that kind of happen in day-to-day business life is times by the number of businesses that I have. And if you don't have a mechanism to kind of manage this, then you will spiral into overwhelm. Overwhelm will then lead to stress, and then stress will ultimately lead to anxiety. And these are things that we're trying to avoid you experiencing as an entrepreneur. Now, we're not avoid, control is the right word, because every entrepreneur will experience these emotions: stress, anxiety, overwhelm. It's just a fact. It's the ones that are successful, the ones that manage these emotions the most effectively. So the simplest thing to start with is you need some way of capturing information. Sounds really simple and really basic, but capturing is almost the best way to resolve overwhelm. And the reason for that is, the reason people get overwhelmed or stressed is there's so many things going on and they can't keep on top of it. They're going to forget things. If you have a capturing mechanism where you can capture everything and it's logged somewhere, then there's lots of different ways you can do this. There's a big dog ahead of us, just looking. It's all right. The owner's with the dog, so hopefully it's tame and it's not going to attack me. But anyway, so capturing is the most important, and I think you can have. It's all right. It's friendly. Morning. So I think there's loads of different ways you can do this. I use project management software or task management software, which is a piece of software called Asana, and all my businesses are kind of run through Asana as the kind of central operations hub. And what it's really good at is chucking stuff into it, and it captures it, and you can kind of assign it to different people and work with different teams. It's a really cool way of getting stuff out off your mind. Not so good for note taking, although I also use it for note taking. So I just try and dump everything in there. And I think the first rule here is to try and use one piece of software to capture everything. If you use multiple pieces, you get people that have task management apps, you get people that have notepads, you get people that have note-taking apps. All these different ways. You have different people that use kind of cloud storage to store things, which is all good and well. But when you're working to avoid overwhelm, it's far more effective having everything in one place, so you're not going to use it. Now, I do use a variety of apps, unfortunately. However, all my task-based stuff is in my notes, all in Asana. So I have cloud storage, I have Evernote, which I also use as a storage facility that makes things searchable, but I've talked about that on a separate episode. But ultimately, my thoughts, my tasks, my actions, other people's actions of all in Asana. So that's rule number one, that less is more in terms of the software packages you're using. Once you get to that stage, this is following a kind of there's a couple of really good books on this, actually, on how you can kind of organise your life better. And one of them is Getting Things Done by David Allen. A lot of people have probably read that book. It's a really long book. It's a little bit of an arduous listen, but some really cool kind of feedback and ideas in there on how you can kind of organise your life. The other one, which was a more simplified version, is the Productivity Ninja. That's what it was, yeah. And I can't remember who wrote it, but in there they were talking about the Chord productivity model. And I'll talk to you about the Chord model first, because it's really, really nice and easy to understand. And it's Chord's an acronym. And I've just walked through some mud and it's all oozing between my toes, barefoot running. Really not nice. But anyway, the Chord productivity model. C is for capture or collect. So this is where everything in the world needs to be captured somehow, so that you don't have to think. It's not taking up valuable mind space of having to remember stuff. So capture is point one. O is organised. When you've captured everything, it's got to be organised into some kind of structure, some kind of prioritisation, to avoid, it just being a massive tangled mess of information that's got no purpose. R is review. So what we're doing here is reviewing what you've organised and making decisions based on, do I need to do that or can someone else do it? And then D is do. So if you notice, D is the last in the list. And if you remember my little principle of how I look at my work agenda each day, I use the OPT, as in short for optimum productivity process. And my acronym was O for outsource. So the first thing you do is you outsource. The next thing you do is progress stuff that you've already outsourced, so making sure people are moving stuff along. And the last thing is tasks, which are your tasks. So it's the same principle there, but that OPT model, or OPT, is focusing just in the do phase, where you've got your list and you're then looking at your list thinking, right, can I outsource anything else? I need to progress what I've outsourced, and then you do the stuff at the end. So this is like quite a lot of information here in this kind of productivity chat, but the principle of answering Wayne's question is you have to collect and capture everything first. You then need to organise it. So when I organise stuff, I have separate teams in my Asana workspace for each business, and within each team I have separate projects. And the reason you have teams is that different people then have access to different businesses. You can set it all up from a security perspective. So again, that's very, very flexible. So that's down to you. But as the bare minimum, you'd want a separate team for each business, and then you might have separate projects within that team for the stuff that you're working on as a business. Less is more, I would say. You don't really want to have more than 3 to 7 different projects that you're working on in any different business at any given point in time. But once you've got those different businesses, first at team level, I've got multiple businesses, you have to give them an order of priority. Which business needs to take primary focus? You might say, oh, well, all of them are equally important. Well, that cannot be the case, because you have to have a way to deal with the workload. It doesn't mean you're not going to get around to the stuff for the business at the bottom of the list. What it means is that it gives you a starting point. So you need to prioritise the businesses. The second thing you need to do is then prioritise the projects within each business. So when I'm talking projects, we're talking goals and milestones here. Targets, okay, really, really important. So once you've got those and you've identified a prioritisation mechanism for those, really, really important, you then look at the tasks in each project. And I use Eisenhower's prioritisation matrix, which is basically important, urgent is number 1. Important, not urgent is number 2. Not urgent, so important, not urgent is number 2. Urgent, not important is number 3. And not important, not urgent is number 4. I also use a little tag from a book called The One Thing as well, which I have the one thing as well. So if there is one thing that's super, super important, you can use that one thing tag as well. So every task has that level of categorization. So basically, if there's no deadline for it, it's not urgent. So it will never get an urgency tag. If it's got a deadline, it automatically gets the urgent part of the tag. Now, is it important? Is it not important? If it's important and it's just you that has to do it, or it's important, you either pass it on to someone senior within your infrastructure, or you do it. If it's not important, you delegate it down. Okay, simple rule. If it's important but not urgent, again, you've got time to get that done, so you delegate it down. And if it's if it's not important or not urgent, you just delete it. It's not needed. So it's a really cool way of going through all your tasks. And you should be doing this for when you assign stuff out to people as well, so they know deadlines and things as well. So it's really, really important you kind of follow this. So once you've done that, you've got this way to kind of deal with everything. So this is the review stage I'm talking about when you're prioritizing stuff. But when you come to the do section, you know you have to work on business one first. You go in business one, you work down your projects in business number one, and you only focus on the urgent and important stuff. So you do that, then you move down to the next goal, the next project, the next project, then you move on to the next business. Just working them down at the urgent and important tasks. You can create a list so it pulls all of those tasks that are important and urgent into one place. And you can do that by either using tags or custom fields. And again, really, really useful way to see all of your important urgent stuff in one list. So that's the order you kind of work stuff through, because the other stuff, you should be either delegating out or just deleting. And when you get into that process, it takes a little while to set this up, by the way. Once you set it up, administrating it every day is easy, as long as you've got the capturing functions in place. But you have to follow this process, otherwise it will eventually snowball out of control again. When you're on top of it, you can then, if you've still got loads of tasks and your urgent stuff, you've got a natural prioritization list, because this is number one, urgent important tasks at the top of the list. Okay, so in order of project priority. So you can work through that list, and what you can do is you can start portioning how long you think it's going to take to do that task. So even if it's delegating something out, you want to give it 15 minutes as a minimum. So you can use 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 or an hour, 2 hours, half day a day. That's generally what I do, and then multiple variations of days. So if you really want to kind of get into time management and capacity, it's a good habit to get into. I don't do it at the moment. If I felt I was getting overwhelmed, I would revert back to it, because it's a useful tool. Once you've got that in play, you can then time block, pull things into your calendar of what you're going to achieve on a day, and have a daily agenda. That way, you're not looking at past your daily agenda, because you only have X number of hours in a day. And that's why the opt model is so important. When you're looking at this, what can you outsource first? Get rid of it, progress the stuff you've outsourced to make sure there's nothing kind of sticking, and then do the doing. So really, you should only be doing the doing work slightly later in the day, because your mornings should be focused on outsourcing, passing stuff off. And where you can get really good is when you get a good team around you, is you can outsource this whole process, so that it's almost like a middle manager in your business. I have a PA who's been with me for kind of 4 years. She's now taking on a lot more responsibility with managing the team. So she does this process for me. The way I can describe her, she's not just a PA, she's like a wing lady. So she will follow me wherever I go, pick up all the actions, collect everything, sort them, assign them all out, and give me an update. Every day she'll give me an update, and then we'll have a weekly meeting once a week. And the amount of time that takes off you is huge. So there's quite a lot of information here. I'm just going past a couple of people. There's a football mum I'm coming up to. Boys, how are you? Hello. You alright? You gonna wait for the camera, right? That's one of the footballers in my under-10s team. His mother. So they're off doing a lockdown walk. And so Rachel Moyes, you've made the vlog. Anyway, so back to the topic. So if you notice that kind of journey I've just taken you through and how I saw my to-do list and the different levels and how you can kind of progress this to reduce your level of time on this. This is how you cope. It's putting different layers of gatekeepers away from you, because you have so much to focus on as the entrepreneur, as the leader, the direction, the strategy, you know, the empowerment, the motivation of the team, you know, and you can't do it all on your own, especially if you've got multiple businesses. And I always say you should always think about this when you start a business. The three most important things to systemize business, which is what I mean by that, is take yourself out of the day-to-day running of a business in your systems and processes. Now, hopefully you'll know most of these. They might need tweaking and illustrating, but hopefully you know them. Number two, you need people. Unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, people are a massive part of growing a business. Automation will get you so far, but you always need people. And number three is data. So I have a team now that do all my data reporting for me. And whereas before I'd be pulling reports and trying to manipulate the data myself, I have a team of people that do that for me now. And they present what I call a glance report once a week for me to look through. If I need any data quicker than that, I just ask them and they go and produce it for me. But I get to see a glanceable report, which allows me to look at it, just glance at it and know where each business is at. It just shows me the top level KPIs that we set. And if I want a new KPI report done, I explain what I want and I empower my team to go and find that report and how to capture it and to automate the capturing of it if possible, because we don't want labour intensive report producing tasks. So hopefully that's answered your question. So I'll try and break it down into steps again. Step one, you have to have a capturing mechanism. So everything you do in life, it's got to come in one place. I said I use Asana. I have a daily log, which I note take in Asana. I use emojis to kind of categorize things as well, just for shorthand, so I can keep all my notes nice and neatly grouped. And all my tasks, all the posts that need actioning, everything kind of goes into Asana. And then it can be divvied out for actioning. So that's to collect, organize. You need to prioritize it or sort it into some kind of order. So I've told you I prioritize each business, and then I have each project in each business, and we work through the projects in order of priority. Morning. And we focus on the tasks in order of priority based on Eisenhower's matrix. So important, urgent, important, not urgent, not urgent, important, not urgent, not important, in that order. And I've told you that if it's important, urgent, you either delegate it to senior management or you do it yourself, or anything below that you delegate down, or the bottom one, not important, not urgent, you just delete. So really, really important there. That's the kind of organise, that's the step two sort of thing. Step three, review. What do we mean by that? Use my OPT, optimum productivity model. Look at your list that you've got ahead of yourself. And outsource, what can you outsource is question number one. Once you've outsourced, look at what you've outsourced over the previous days, progress it to make sure stuff is getting done to completion. The compounding effect of other people doing work for you, multiple other people doing work for you, as opposed to you just starting and doing your own thing first, is huge. So really get into that routine. The last thing you do is your own task. Okay, so that's really, really important in the kind of review section. And the do section is ultimately your own task, which should only have a handful. If you have too many in that do section, then what you want to do is start putting estimated time against tasks. And I'd use 15 minutes as the smallest amount of time, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 1 hour, half a day, 1 hour, 2 hours, half a day, full day, and then multiple days. That's the kind of the mechanism I'd use. You could possibly take out 45 minutes if you wanted to, but I found that one quite useful. And once you've got that in play, you then create a daily list. So the top important tasks that you've done for your kind of sorting stage or your prioritization stage, you pull out the number of top tasks for the amount of time you have in the day to complete them. You have a daily agenda. Time blocking, you can block into your calendar as well, so it goes in and around your calendar events. And that way, you're not getting overwhelmed by the ever-growing list around you, but you're just putting laser-like focus on the most highest performing task. So, hope you find this useful. I will be putting all my structures and assignment templates together as free resources in the future. So, if you're interested or any questions on this stuff, just drop me a comment. I'll respond to everyone. If it's a bigger topic, I'll do a separate episode and tag you in. As always, if this is not of interest to you and it's cluttering up your social feeds, just unfriend or unfollow me, and it will stop cluttering up your social feeds. No problem there. But before you go, do make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, Runpreneur, and my Facebook community group, Runpreneur, where all of the feature-length episodes will be hosted in the YouTube channel and catalogued nice and neatly by playlist. And it's a completely free resource for you to tap in and out of on an ad hoc basis, perhaps at some point in the future. And the Runpreneur community group as well will be hosting all the free resources. So again, completely free. Worth you getting into that group to make sure you don't miss stuff. So we are building all this stuff out at the moment. So watch this space. So that's it for me today. As always, the Runpreneur blog was set up to help entrepreneurs, small business owners overcome stress, anxiety, overwhelm by using exercise as a mechanism to control, manage and thrive under these emotions. Every entrepreneur out there experiences these emotions. And the difference is the ones that are successful are the ones that manage them, control and thrive under them most effectively. Now, the flip forward if you don't do this is the pressure will build up, and then something will give. And it's normally one of two things, both of which are terminal to the lifeline of your business. And that's one is the entrepreneur, you'll have a breakdown, or the business will just break down. Either or is terminal to the success of your business. And with only 1 in 10 businesses lasting the test of time, hugely damning figure, I think these emotions are some of the main reasons why that figure is so low. So if this blog can just help one entrepreneur or one business owner out there and save one business, then it's been 1,000,000% worthwhile. So I hope you find this useful. Finally, my pledge is that I've been there, I've had failed businesses, I've experienced these emotions beyond control, and I see the dark side, but I've also come through that now, and I've managed to find a way of dealing with this, hence this blog. So my pledge to you is that if you need someone to talk to about stuff, it's not no sale at all. Just drop me a message, completely free call. There's no sale, no nothing. All I want to do is try and give you some tangible steps to try and help you control these emotions, because a lot of us entrepreneurs are too proud to talk. Morning. And if you are one of these people, then you need to kind of get over that and speak to somebody who could be the difference between your business surviving or failing. So, on that note, I'll try and end on a positive spin. And as always, stay positive, stay happy, and I'll speak to you again tomorrow. Bye.